Hey, welcome to video 10 in our van build series. Today we're going to install a Greywater tank under our van. The water tank we chose was a 15-gallon unit from Barker Manufacturing. I've provided a link below. Like most everything else on this build, we've never done this before, so let's see how it works out. Today, I want to mount a 15-gallon Greywater tank under our van. The tank measures 12 inches wide by 12 inches tall by 24 inches deep. I selected this tank as the cross members on the ladder frame of a Ram Promaster are 13 inches apart. So rather than just hanging off the bottom of the frame, I can hang this tank between the frame members, providing an additional 3 inches of ground clearance. Let's take a closer look at the spacing. You can see here I have the tank offset within the frame. I have moved it forward against the forward crossmember. I have done this as the Ram Promaster's parking brake strut lever impedes slightly into this cavity. It's located here. Having looked closely at this area, the tank should fit in here, leaving me about 5/8 of an inch, the distance or the thickness of a finger, between the tank and the parking brake strut lever. So how am I going to mount this? I'm going to custom build a hanging frame from galvanized perforated slotted angle bar. This is 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch by 5/64 of an inch thick. If everything goes as planned, here's what it should look like when I'm done. Again, I'm using galvanized perforated slotted angle available from any hardware. Let's take a closer look at the design. The main support beams are just over 12 inches apart to cradle the tank. The reason for the difference in the front and rear vertical uprights is the tank needs to be held as far forward as possible to clear the Promaster's parking brake strut lever. With the Promaster's next frame member 13 inches back, the rear vertical uprights will need to be extended backwards to align with the frame. Let me move it up into position to add clarity. So here's how all the pieces should fit together. The water tank frame will be designed to just fall short of reaching the frame of the van. This is on purpose. I'm going to design it this way so I can add or subtract washers between the Ram Promaster's frame and the water tank frame. That way, I have more control over the precise amount of tension I'm going to be using to hold the tank in place. Need it tighter? Remove a washer. The water tank itself will not be welded or screwed, but rather bolted directly to the frame. I'll be using 4 M8 riv nuts to hold the tank up. The pull-out strength for an easy round M8 riv nut is 2.22 kilonewtons, or 500 pounds. So they are saying that just one M8 riv nut will fail at 500 pounds. I'm using 4. So theoretically, failure at 2,000 pounds. My guess is the riv nut would pull through the Ram Promaster's frame before the thing failed. In any event, the weight of the frame, the water tank, and 15 gallons of water is under 150 pounds. So I think we're good to go. I've also designed the carriage to maximize ground clearance. With the tank installed, I should have just over 9 inches between the bottom of the tank and the ground. As a comparison, the Promaster rear axle ground clearance is 7.5 inches. So this mounted tank will have more clearance than the rear axle. Now, that doesn't mean it isn't vulnerable. As with any RV, with something mounted underneath between the front and rear axles, you have to be mindful of what you have hanging down there. So there is a high-level overview of our game plan. let's get started. All right, I have never used this before, so I thought prior to working underneath the van to hang the water tank, I'd practice on a piece of metal that I've removed. Also, I see it didn't come with a drill bit, and so I've been trying to get a drill bit to meet this hole size, and after looking it up online, it appears to be an 11mm hole. So, of course, I don't have a drill bit that size. The closest I had would be about 7/16, which is also missing. So I went down to buy a drill bit, and they don't have an 11mm. They have a 10.72. So when I measured this, I think I got about 10.44 or 10.5. So this might actually work. All right. Be great if that fit, and it does not. So I would need one size larger. Or I just do that. Okay, I'm going to stick with that. Line up this hole, pop in the pin, okay, tighten this up. And, I don't know, thread it maybe? Oh, maybe it's this. Oh, look at me. Nothing gets by me. Okay, so I'm thinking that's it. So, let's give it a try. Okay, and then you tighten more. Yeah, you tighten it down more. I like this. Okay, that's seriously in there. Let's take it out. Let's get a good look at this with the camera. Man, that is fantastic. That is a cool tool. So, an M8 bolt. Pretend this is the bottom of the van. I'm going to drill into the frame with a bunch of these and tighten this up in order to anchor the tank. That's the plan. Love this tool. Lots of cutting and filing. I used the vehicle jack to raise and hold the tank in position while I built the frame around it. So this is actually requiring a little bit of thought. Starting to build this bracket. The fuel tank in this scenario is going to be sitting, grab this, let's pretend this is the fuel tank. It's actually going to be sitting here, so the other rail would be over here, and it'll come up to about there. There'll be cross members to go across. This is to go up to the bottom of the frame. The actual bottom of the truck is about here, but this is the ladder frame that I'm bolting into. So the challenge that I'm finding is these holes are, obviously predetermined distances apart. And I have just checked, and although I'm roughly 9 inches hanging down here, this doesn't quite work that way. So I was thinking about that earlier, and I got two ways of handling it. One of them is the M8 bolt, which is going to go through into the frame like this. I bought these extra long so I can actually perhaps, tighten it up like this and have a lock nut on the inside, so in which case this surface doesn't actually touch the frame. That was one idea, and I may end up using a little bit of that. The other idea is, because this is a given length, if I go a little bit on a diagonal, I can lower it slightly, tighten here, tighten there, and I've brought the distance down. So what I've just finished doing was shaving the inside of this corner to give me that flexibility. So if it's needed like this, that's great. And if I need to go across like that, I can go like that, and I'll end up... So I'm going to go start fiddling with this and tighten them up roughly. Maybe get a couple of them done, and we'll see where this leads us. Okay, this is going to go something like that.
Yeah. Oh wow, that is really good. Okay, so I put that in like that. Okay. I think I'll put a hole there. Maybe about like that. Yeah, it's going to be snug. Oh, that's good. Alright, so that's going right there. Now, I got to get a little bit of paint on there. Okay. And my head's in the way. Try this way. I'll do it that way. That is cool. That looks like it might work. Okay, so here's the thinking. I'm going to place 2 washers between the bracket and the frame. And that way, I can remove those later to tighten if I need to. It'll give me some play.
Here I'm cutting out an opening for the tank drain.
Okay, need another disc. That one's toast.
Moved from the angle grinder to the chop saw to finish this job. Checking to make sure the emergency brake will work with the water tank installed.
6. So try those two. 6 3/4 or 6. Okay. Oh, look at that. I think I'm going to stop there for today. We'll pick this up tomorrow. So let's zoom in here. Okay. All right. So we've got good spacing on this side. Yeah, it's going to miss the emergency brake. This is going to be very solid. I'll put a bunch of washers in there to get the right tension on the tank. They'll be Loctite on all of the connections as well as the actual lock washer. These will be trimmed off here. Nice little arc. And tomorrow I'll work on the other end. Frankly, I'm tired of crawling around this thing.
Here I'm building a second rear bracket. I made the incorrect assumption that it would fit.
Okay, well, a minute ago you saw me making another bracket and I made some assumptions and they were wrong. So I'm now redesigning it. This emergency brake bracket is causing some issues. I can't just go straight up and this is going to impede. So I've been redesigning this. I've cut this down about 1.5 inches and this will be mounted probably about yay. And I need to design this now something like that. Okay, so here's take 2 or take 3, not sure which. Modified it again. Let's tighten that up a little bit to hold it. Okay, this is take 3. So there's my finished bracket. A little bit different than the front one, but super strong, triangulated, and I've got the right offset. It's going to sit right there. I have no idea how I'm going to fit this in here. There's a muffler in the way. Oh, tailpipe! I need to get to there. Oh boy. Okay. If I go around this like that, would it work? Maybe? Okay, I've got no leverage here at all. I have a muffler in the way. How am I going to do this? Okay, well, let's try something else. This way? Ish. I might have to take this frame out. So I learned from the first two to do little bits at a time where you've got more leverage. Oh! Yeah, that's never going anywhere. Oh, okay. Got to drop it, do some trimming, probably paint it black so it doesn't stand out, and call this job done.
Final cutting and filing.
Well, the fabrication is finished. It's kind of funny, this is the first time I've had a chance to look at it. The front is pretty much as planned. The offset because of the emergency brake lever on this side. But this is pretty much as planned. The back is a little different. This, of course, is where the emergency brake cable comes through, so I had to design that to leave space for it. And this one, although it looks similar, it actually just goes straight up to a muffler bolt. So I've got 3 M8s rib nuts into the bottom of the frame and 1 muffler bolt. And the last thing I want to draw attention to is the actual storage area here where the tank is going to sit. There's no nuts or bolt heads that are in this area. That was important to me. So I'll be able to put down about a 1/8 or 1/4 inch foam with adhesive on one side, kind of like a weather stripping. And that'll actually provide just a little bit of insulation between the plastic tank and the metal frame. So paint this and install. That is a perfect fit. Let's call it done. I'm going to use this frame here just to show you what my plans are. You can see the rib nut located right there. I'm going to start with a number 8 bolt, a lock washer, and a washer, and it'll be going up against or inside the water tank frame. And then I'll be starting by placing 3 washers on it, like such. And then threading it into the frame. That will allow me to remove a washer if it's too loose and to add a washer if it's too tight. So I did design the whole thing just actually around 2 washers, but I have since added in a little bit of foam between the water tank and the frame, and it'll compress a little bit, so I'm adding a 3rd washer just to start with. We'll see how it works out.